This garage right here has been a disaster for a long time. Cables and tools everywhere, zero organization. Definitely not a place that I can work from or film YouTube videos, but that is all about to change today. I'm giving this entire garage a full makeover, top to bottom, and turning it into the ultimate workspace for future projects and videos. And if you stick around to the end, I'll show you how I'm going to turn this into a smart garage with automations, tech upgrades all over the place, and how it's all going to tie into my Apple Home setup. Let's go. This garage has kind of become a black hole between unused smart home gear or storage, tools all over the place, boxes and stuff that frankly, I probably should have gotten rid of a long time ago. All right, so let me finish getting the rest of this stuff out of here so we can start the fun part. A lot of switch plate covers I've held on to from changing them all out to be smart switches. So I get rid of all my old dumb switches I've replaced with smart switches. Might be time to let them go. This actually took a lot longer than I expected. We have so much junk to go through. I did end up taking a few truckloads of just junk that I needed to get rid of to the dump, and everything we needed to keep, we got loaded up in the pod. And finally, I had a blank slate so we can get to work. With the garage clear, we could start the fun part. This loft was my big idea, and honestly, I wasn't even sure if it would be possible, but I have a friend who owns a construction company that was thankfully willing to take on this project. He brought in his team to do the work so we'd be able to utilize all that space vertically in this garage. The loft instantly doubled my storage capacity and opened up the floor. Huge shout out to the crew that built this thing in just a few days. We ran conduit to bring power exactly where I needed it. We added multiple outlets to each wall and even put a couple outlets in the bottom of the loft. This way I'll always have outlets nearby for smart home tech or filming gear. We also added 2 Ethernet drops for cameras and possibly a Wi-Fi access point that I might add in the future. We also replaced the main ceiling lights, and we added a total of 8 can lights underneath the loft. It was about this time that my new cabinets and workbench arrived. I'm planning to put these along both side walls of the garage for added storage, tools, and have some counter space for 3D printers or other projects that I want to work on. I did a quick inspection to make sure they weren't damaged. Then we set them aside so we could finish the electrical work and the paint. So I wanted to go for a dark, moody vibe for the garage, so I went with this nice warm dark gray color for the walls and ceiling. Obviously, this looks much better than the unpainted drywall that we had in there before. We even painted the back of the garage door. Now it's really starting to come together, and I was starting to get excited. The guys then installed the cabinets perfectly on both sides of the garage to account for the 6-inch slope that I have in here. Next, we had the mini split AC unit installed. If I want to work or film here year-round, climate control is a must. I live in South Carolina and the summers get brutally hot and humid, especially in the garage. This mini split is quiet, efficient, and should allow me to work in here without having a heat stroke. Finally, it was on to the epoxy floors. I went with a light gray flake pattern just to contrast the darker colors of everything else in here. This was the final piece to wrap everything up. I let the new floors cure over the weekend, and then it was time to move all my junk back into the garage, this time utilizing that new loft, and I could finally get that pod out of the driveway, which the whole family was happy about. Man, look at all the space we have in here now. This is awesome. You may have noticed I don't have a lawnmower in here taking up space on the floor, which is usually kind of a big item. I'm glad I don't have to have one in here. And that's all thanks to the sponsor of today's video, Segway. I have been using Segway's new Navimow X3 robot lawnmower. This just stays docked in the backyard, kind of like a robot vacuum, but for the lawn. The X3 series is designed for larger lawns from 1/2 acre up to 2.5 acres. And setup is super easy with no boundary wires. It uses 3-band RTK and a triple camera system with a 300-degree field of view and time of flight sensors for pinpoint navigation even at night, which is awesome. Plus it's super quiet at under 60 decibels, so cutting at night is not a problem. It's a lot quieter than those birds right now. It also has traction control, which is huge for me since my yard is less than perfect. It handles uneven, soft or wet ground and even 50% slopes without getting stuck. I very rarely have to rescue this robot mower from getting stuck. It charges in less than 30 minutes and gives you 90 minutes of mowing. Plus it automatically returns to the dock when needed. I've been using this thing all spring and summer and it's been awesome. I have not had to touch a push mower all year. I just use a weed eater every couple of weeks to clean up around the edges. That's it. The Navimow X3 series handles the rest. If you're anything like me and hate mowing the lawn, this thing is definitely a game changer. Plus, I don't have to have a big lawnmower in my garage. I'll put links to this down in the description below. Check it out if interested, and big thanks to Segway for sponsoring this video. All right, back to the garage. Now it's time to add all the final touches. I added a slat wall in the back corner so I could hang garden tools, ladders, and things like that to get them off the floor. I wanted to add pegboards behind both workbenches. I went with the Ikea Pegboards mainly because there are so many 3D print files available online for accessories to fit these. I had to cut these down to get them to fit just right. And for one of the panels, I even managed to make it removable so I could access my sprinkler controller that is mounted behind it. This worked well, but probably took me way longer than it should have to get it all just right. And we had to add some smart lighting in here, so I went with the Aqara T1 light strips. I added these above both workbenches for accent and functional lighting, and then I added some light strips under the trim in a few places to give us some nice accent lighting. Love the way these turned out. I added black Lutron Caseta smart switches to give me control of the lights, both the main overhead lights as well as the can lights. And I even added a Pico remote so I can control the can lights from the top or the bottom of the stairs. So here's the final build. The loft came out great with that stained tongue and groove underneath to give us that nice finished look. All the extra storage is amazing. We also stained the stairs leading into the house to match everything. The Husky cabinets and the workbenches are amazing. I put my Bambu Labs A1 Mini 3D printer down here, and I'll continue using it to print little accessories for the pegboards and even my slat wall. The large portable Husky workbench is killer. I'll use it to store most of my tools, but I can also move it around and use the workbench for unboxing videos. I can even raise and lower the workbench when working on projects if needed, and it has a power strip built in if I need to plug in any tech or power tools. I'm using the SwitchBot Hub 3 in here as an IR blaster to control the mini split AC unit. This will also get it into Apple Home for me. I can also use the Hub 3 as a cool little controller to control some of my other smart tech here in the garage. And of course we had to get a camera in here, you know, for security and stuff like that. I had Ethernet run to this corner and I installed a Unifi AI Pro camera in here. Amazing camera. So that's gonna keep the garage secure, constant surveillance, recording 24/7, all that good stuff. And that ties into Unifi Protect. I've been kind of gradually changing all my cameras over to Unifi cameras, and this is just another one to the setup. So really excited to have that in here. And I can also tie in automations and do some really cool stuff with that, which we might also do in a future video. Now I already had my garage smart thanks to the Tailwind garage door controller. I really love this thing. I've been using it for quite a while, so I'm still using that. And you can then control it in Apple Home or any other smart home ecosystem. I currently have the Thorbolt X1 Deadbolt Smart Lock with a fingerprint reader, keypad, and home key support, as well as the Thorbolt MK1 Smart Doorknob. Now I have a few robot vacuums since I'm always testing new smart home tech for the channel, so I brought in my Ecovacs D-Bot X8 Pro Omni, and I'll be able to use this to keep the floors clean. It has that nice roller mop, so it should be great for these epoxy floors, plus matter support so I can control it in my Apple Home setup as well. The only thing left really to do in here for now is add a TV and some speakers. I'm thinking about probably putting a TV over here on this wall and then maybe add some home pods in here. I'm probably gonna wait until the new home pods come out. That's something we're hearing should happen in the near future. Oh, and over here, I'm going to be putting a standing freezer. Got to get rid of this old file cabinet. But a standing freezer is gonna go over here so I can store all of our meat. And let's be honest, I probably need to add a beer fridge in here somewhere, maybe a little mini fridge at least, to close the garage door. And then I'm also thinking about putting some sort of camera rig up over here maybe that I can use to do top-down shots, maybe move around a little bit, something adjustable. Still haven't decided on that yet. Plus some camera lights and things like that will go in here soon. Maybe some acoustic panels to help out with the audio for future videos. So let me know if you guys want to see a future video on that, maybe a part 2 of the whole garage setup. And if you want to check out my last big project here where we turn my backyard into a smart home hangout with a new screened in porch and smart tech all over the place, check out this video right here. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.